Witch Hazel here again in part 3 of creating ritual. And so far my taking notes has not really helped. I'm still doing close to 15-minute videos, but hopefully they're enjoyable for you. So first video went over defining your purpose. Second one was ritual format. In this third part we're going to look at putting the two together. So in the last video I mentioned my Esbat format, which I have taken essentially from the Farrar's A Witch's Bible. And this I elaborate on here. I've taken this out of my notebook of shadows that I showed you earlier. But so I have the basic format, and then from there I have the Esbat ritual itself. I'm going to put my notes away here. The ritual itself. What I have done is written out basically everything that I took from the book and made all of the alterations I wanted to make. I've included what I need to perform this ritual as a checklist to begin with. I've included preparation. What do I need to do to prepare? And then I started in with my version of the written ritual. Again, some of these things I've reworded, some of them I've altered where they are in the ritual, but basically I've put everything together. Now, this is a little bit different from what you may see in many books of shadows when people review their books of shadows. For example, I have here opening ritual, cast the circle, strengthen the circle, call the quarters. Originally, I had these all as individual items, individual pages. So I had the opening ceremony, I had cast the circle, close the circle, call the quarters, release the quarters. I had all of these things that went together. I had them as individual pages. The problem that I found with that, and you may not have a problem with this, but I did not like having to go back and forth between pages. It's wonderful and helpful if you have multiple bookmarks that you can just mark the pages you need or want for your ritual. But for me, it was much more convenient just to write it all out once, exactly where it's supposed to be. And then the only thing I need to move through my book for in order to find is the thing that changes. In this case, the actual working in the ritual. So, I started out with all of my ritual elements, and I get to then, here it is, following the witch's rune. You can't see it here, down here, working. So this is where I know I need to insert here whatever I'm working on. In this case, my original example was my full moon in eclipse ritual to finish up lingering negativity that I had related to a broken heart. Sorry, my dog is making noise and distracting me. So the actual ritual that I put together for that is right here. Love letter transformation spell. And this has to do with a box full of love letters that I have from my ex that I don't really want to hang on to. It's got a lot of negativity associated with it, and I'm recreating that paper. So things that I want included here, again, I have items needed. I have when this was done. I did that preemptively, you don't have to do that. When I did the spell, what I'm going to do, what my purpose of the spell is, and then I start to go into what I'm going to do. Again, very formatted, just like the ritual. First I'm going to cleanse and consecrate each of the ingredients I'm using in this project. And I have written out whatever verbiage I wanted to use there. Once I've done that, then I go back through and empower each of the ingredients that I want to work with and the verbiage that I'm using for that. Lastly, I wanted to do a meditation with this. And this incorporates, remember I said I wanted to incorporate the eclipse and moving from one phase of life into another. So all of this up to this point has been the practical aspect that I talked about in the first video. This was the practicalities. I need to get these items ready to use. And then this portion is my more spiritual aspect. How am I spiritually going to make this transition from one part of life to another? And I decided the way to do that was a meditation. I had listed several different options in that first video: dance, divination, meditation. I opted for meditation because I had several objects that I wanted to use. The main one being, I had a large square of lovely black translucent fabric that I decided to use as a veil, covered myself over with this veil during the time of the eclipse, and then did some journey work, meditative journey work, which involved water. Remember, I wanted to add in the aspect of water. This is how I did that. During my meditative journey work, part of that was entering a pool and receiving whatever divine information I needed at that point and receiving healing from this pool of water, which brought me back. It connected it all to the Great Mother, Luna, etc., etc. So that's how I did that. And when I get to that portion here, I did insert a little part about meditation script. So that is here. So you can see I have divided each of these things into things I can use again. So this by itself is my spell work. It's my working. This by itself is a meditation. I can use this meditation by itself. Again, I can adapt it. I can make other versions, but this is something that I want to have available. It doesn't need to go together with the spell work that I did. That's how I like to divide things up. And again, all of this, the meditation, can all be separate from my Esbat ritual. So this I have available to me whenever I need it, and it's got that little portion in there, insert working here, and then I can find wherever else in my book that I have the other aspects that I want to add in. That is how I like to put all of this together. So I have individual pieces that I can use separately or I can use together. And that, my friends, is putting it all together. I'm going to do one more video for you on additional considerations that I find helpful, especially as a solitary practitioner, because there are still, even though now I've got this beautiful system worked out for this ritual that I'm going to do, sometimes I still run into blocks in actually performing the ritual, and that is a side note consideration that I want to go over with you. So that will be the next video, miscellaneous considerations. Thank you again. I hope this was clear and helpful. If it was not, please let me know and how you would like me to clarify, and I can redo it for you. Thanks very much. Blessed be.